today in the studio we have Brenda Barrett, who's Managing Director for Infineon Ireland. Brenda, thanks a million for being with us.
You're welcome, thanks Anne, and thanks for having me.
And tell me, Brenda, I'm going to get you to start, for those who don't know Infineon too well. It's a very dynamic and exciting area you work in. Can you tell us a little bit about Infineon globally and then a bit about the Irish operations?
Yeah, no problem. So globally, we're a pretty big organisation globally, so we've over 50,000 employees worldwide. You may not have heard of Infineon in a day-to-day context, but in your daily life, you touch our semiconductors everywhere along the way. So from when you wake up in the morning and pick up your phone, get into your car, we're somehow everywhere. So we have 4 different divisions. So we have automotive. So we have a pretty wide spectrum of parts in our automotive side of the business. We have PSS, which is our power systems. So you'll see our chips in a lot of our in phones, laptops, you name it. We have GIP, which is our green industrial power. So we also have a strong presence in our renewable energies and so on. And then we have CSS, which is our chip card security systems. And they're, for example, in credit cards, passports, and so on. So everywhere you go, you'll likely come across an Infineon product. We have a presence all over the world. And in Ireland, we have 2 different entities in Ireland. So we have our Infineon entity, Infineon Ireland entity, which I'm Managing Director of. We take care of corporate supply chain, and we work across all our products, all our customers. We focus from a supply chain perspective on our European market, but we also have a lot of global roles in the site also. Then we also have 2 other offices in Ireland, so one in Cork and one in Sandyford in Dublin, and those are both R&D sites. So they would have come from an acquisition a few years ago from Cyprus. So we're 2 different entities. So you may hear me referring to the supply chain side of the business and the R&D side of the business. We have 2 entities, 2 managing directors. I take care of the supply chain side, and Martin O'Keefe then takes care of the R&D side.
Very good, and I want to come back to Infineon and hear a bit more. But first of all, I want to get to know yourself a little bit better. So if you're happy to tell us a little bit about your journey to here. You're originally from Cork?
From Cork, yes. I always like to mention that. So originally from Cork. So maybe to start off with, so my background is so I went to University of Limerick. My background is in applied languages, was my undergrad, so French, German and Spanish. And then my master's was in French literature and philosophy. So I'm not directly using my studies today, the German side, I guess so, but I started with Infineon back in 2006. So directly after I finished my studies, it was my first grown-up job, if you will. So plenty other activities before that, but my first real job. I started with Infineon Ireland, and I did, let's say, different activities abroad. So I did a short-term assignment in Munich in our headquarter, and then I spent 3 years in the US on a long-term assignment. Came back to Ireland in 2021. I've always been with the same organisation, and I've somehow done, I think, almost every role in our organisation. And from February this year, I took over also the global function of customer logistics management. So I have a few different roles at the moment. So firstly, managing director for the site, then also globally for my function, which is customer logistics management. And also since last year, I head our European organisation. So there I'm looking for a successor at the moment. But on the global side and the managing director side, that's my main focus today.
Fantastic. Yeah, that's a lot of responsibilities for one person. But I mean, given your role, tell me a little bit about your own thoughts about leadership and what, in your view, it should look like, or what kind of a leader you aim to be. Or...
Yeah. Okay, perfect. So when I think of leadership, I always reflect on how I've gone through different roles over the years and how I like people to deal with me. And I think you collect over the years, maybe you collect some practices that you like and some that you don't like, and then I try and I also try and take feedback from the team and understand what people like, what people don't like. I have a strong belief that you need to treat everybody equally, but not treat everybody the same. So really, from a leadership perspective, I think it's really, you need to know your people, and you need to also somehow adapt in a different way depending on the people you're dealing with. I think the values that I somehow like to see in other leaders, and then I also try and emulate that myself, is really to be consistent, to be there for the team, and to be consistent somehow in what you're doing. I think also and to really have trust, to really build trust with the team. But I also think in every different role, you maybe need to somehow reinvent yourself. And I always think what got you here won't get you to the next step. And so whether it's leading individuals or leading an organization, you also need to take a slightly different aspect of your own leadership that you need to maybe work on more. From an organization perspective, I see it more really giving a clear vision and a clear strategy of where you're going, but also understanding the needs of the team and the needs of the people and making sure they're with you. From an individual people leadership perspective, I see it really important to give your people time. So for me, a really one-on-one time is really important with all the individuals that you're leading, and to really properly listen to people, I think is one of the most important things that I see in leaders I've respected over the time, over the years, and also what I try and do myself. So.
I love that. I was at a conference yesterday and somebody asked me what the key attribute of leadership should be, and I said to listen.
Okay, good.
So I love that you said that. I'm glad I'm not the only one.
Yes, I totally agree. And sometimes I talk to so much, so
well, look,
I need
we
to listen.
all do, and it is remarkable, how important it is and how often you see leaders who don't do it. You're sitting in a room and they're not listening. Yeah. So I would love to hear that. And then, like, if you're looking at, I'm thinking, supply chain and logistics is very much what you're doing at the moment. I think that came so much to the fore during the pandemic. Will you tell me a little bit more about what's involved and recent challenges and trends in the supply chain when it comes to semiconductors?
Yeah, for sure. So I think definitely, as you say, since the pandemic, we've seen a lot of stress on our supply chain, definitely over the years. And we also, I think, have realised that, so we have a very global supply chain. We have customers all over the world, and we really need to be in tune with what's happening in each region and what's happening in each market, and to be able to react real time to what's happening. So one of the most important things I see at the moment is speed is really important. So our customers don't wait. And I think also historically we had a more a kind of a set expectation of how our customers behave. So from an automotive perspective, for example, or consumer customers, now they're not acting in that classic model anymore. So speed is really important everywhere. There's also a lot of new concepts and new topics that our customers are coming up with. And what we're really trying to do is to, again, listen to our customers, to really understand what their needs are and bring it internally into our Infineon view, and to be able to somehow predict what they're going to need so that we can react faster. And so I see, of course, a lot of consistency over the years, but definitely more focus at the moment on being able to react quickly, being able to provide transparency on whether it's our product flow, whether it's time to delivery to the customer, whatever it might be. But speed is really important. And I think we see that in our daily lives as well, that we're somehow more impatient than I think we would have been some years ago. And I think from a business perspective also that matters. Yeah.
And what are the kind of the trends that are affecting what you do? I mean, you have to mention AI because it's affecting everybody, I think. But are there kind of trends that are affecting what you do, aside from that need for speed, which I agree with you totally?
Yeah, for sure. AI is definitely a big topic. So for us, in a few different ways. So we deal quite a lot with customers who are working on AI products, for example. So that's from a customer perspective, it's definitely there. But also internally, if we look at how we operate internally at Infineon, how we operate within supply chain, we're really exploring a lot of AI topics at the moment. And I think it's almost a given now that we need this co-pilot in everything that you do. And our vision is also to make life easier for our own team, to be able to deliver the best service to our customer by having also from a speed perspective, having information quickly. And there we're also looking at internally using some AI tools to help us in the end, bring things faster to the customer.
As you know, IDA would be our partners on the series, so I do want to ask you about the relationship between Infineon and IDA, and, you know, beyond the obvious, do you work with them on special, whether it's on talent or, you know, sustainability or whatever it might be? Tell me a little bit.
Yes, for sure. So over the years, we've always worked very closely with the IDA here locally. So I took over my managing director role in 2021, but my predecessors would also have had a very close relationship over the years. If I think over the last few years, the main topic that comes to mind on my side that we worked with the IDA on is we participated in the Leading with Strategic Intent programme. So together, or with the IMI, so the two different entities in Ireland that I mentioned at the beginning, we really saw it, and the IDA definitely encouraged us to come more closely together. And so we went through this programme to develop a joint strategy for Ireland and how both entities can support each other to have a common goal, and also with some of our internal stakeholders, but also to have a more united Infineon presence in Ireland. So the IDA definitely encouraged us strongly on this road and supported us along the way. And we stay regularly in touch, so they also support in advising us on different funding topics and so on. So definitely happy to have them as partners. So.
And tell me then, just around getting great people, and, you know, that can be very diverse. I mean, looking at your own background, I have a background in the arts myself, by the way. How, you know, what's it like in Ireland getting the right people for your site, for example? Are there particular challenges, particular positives?
Yeah, so I'd say there's pros and cons, definitely. Luckily, we have a really accessible market area when we're looking for talent in general. What I would say over the years is definitely, if I look back to when I started with Infineon in comparison to today, we have a lot more supply chain programs in Ireland in the universities. So we do a lot of work with, we have a program together with the University of Limerick where we co-design the content and so on. But all the Irish universities now have supply chain programs where they didn't in the past. We also we have a very multinational team, so we have about 30 different nationalities in our team of 100 people. So it's something we're always proud of, that we have this diversity, and Ireland, or especially Dublin, is still a very attractive place for especially for people at the early stages in their career and they want to work in their English, for example. Now, especially since Brexit, I think it's more interesting to come to Ireland, which we also see over the last years. I think for us, one of the challenges is that Infineon is not so much a known name. And this is something activities like this help with. And also, we really try and get out to the universities and to get our name out there a bit more. So I would say that's probably one of the challenges. But I think we do have a really good a good catchment area, if you will, here in Dublin at the moment, to find good talent for any roles that we bring. Also, over the years, we're trying to bring, in some cases, more advanced roles, and then we're looking for a slightly different profile, certainly for some roles. And our overall talent strategy, if you will, is we hire for potential, and then we try and develop people over the time into maybe different roles as well.
So training,
yeah, very important.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Very good. And I suppose finally, if you were to look to the future, any thoughts on either the future of Infineon or sort of future trends that you see coming down the road?
So definitely, I would say from an Infineon overall perspective, we're very focused on decarbonisation and digitalisation, and I know those are terms that are used everywhere. But we really, because we're in everything in every market, we really try and stay at the forefront of new technology and what's coming across the board. Definitely AI is a big area for us as a company, and in the automotive sector. So automotive is a very big part of our business. We're in every new idea, whether it's autonomous drive or different steps along the way. So for sure, we try and stay present in every market.
Yeah, and when it comes to vehicles and self-driving and everything, it's a pretty exciting area.
It is, for sure.
So yeah, one to watch. Listen, it's been fantastic to talk to you. Thank you so much for coming in and being with us today.
Thank you so much for your time. It was lovely to be here. Thanks for that.